ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदामह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरो वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणं रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Bhakti Vaibhav class. We are discussing from third canto. Last time we completed 22nd chapter. We'll begin with the 23rd chapter, Devahuti's Lamentation. In the last chapter, we have discussed Swayambhu Manu and Kardam Muni. They had a wonderful conversation. In 21st chapter, Swayambhu Manu glorified, Kardam Muni glorified Swayambhu Manu. In 22nd chapter, Swayambhu Manu replied saying, "Thank you for reminding my duties." And he told that it is already known that you wanted a good wife, and Supreme Lord Himself has told me this. So please accept my daughter as your wife. And then he glorifies the qualities of Devahuti and how she had already fixed her mind on him, on Kardam Muni. So Kardam Muni, he said, "Okay, I'll accept your daughter, but on one condition. Uh, As soon as I give her a child, I'll leave, I'll renounce." So Manu, knowing well the will of the Lord, he accepted this and then he gave his daughter in marriage. Then he returned, and the beautiful rule of Swayambhu was described. The kingdom Barishmati was described, how he lived ideal household life, and then ultimately he renounced. All that was described in 22nd chapter. So now in 23rd chapter, the request of Devahuti will be described. So Devahuti is now serving Kardamuni with all her hearts, with her full attention, and then she makes one request to her very, very powerful husband. And then ultimately, to fulfill her request, Kardamuni creates a celestial aerial mansion, and then he enjoys. So all that will be described in this chapter, and then ultimately Devahuti will lament. I have been cheated by material nature. Vanchata maya dhanam. I got such a wonderful opportunity. Yatvam vimuktidam prapya nan momokshe bandhana. I asked for material things. Okay, so we'll continue from first verse. Maitreya uvacha पितृभ्यां प्रस्थिते साध्वी पतिमिङ्गित कोविदा नित्यं पर्यचरत् प्रीत्या भवानीव भवं प्रभुम्.
Maitreya continued. After the departure of her parents, the chaste woman Devahuti, who could understand the desires of her husband, served him constantly with great love, as Bhavani, the wife of Lord Shiva, serves her husband.
Yes. So although this section is describing how Kardamuni served, Devahuti served her husband very nicely, Srila Prabhupada, he gives purports that is how a disciple should serve his guru. Pitribhyam prasthite sadhvi. Pitribhyam prasthite, after prasthan of the parents, sadhvi, the chaste women Devahuti, who could understand Patim Ingit Kovida. This is the first quality of a disciple. Patim Ingit Kovida. He can understand the desires of his guru. So she could understand the desires of her husband. Patim Ingit Kovida. Even without being told, she knew what my husband wanted. Therefore, second quality, Nityam Parichayat Pritya. She served him constantly with great love. And an example is given Bhavani Iva Bhavam Prabhum, just like Bhavani served Bhava. She knew the power of her husband. Just like Bhavani knew, although Lord Shiva is completely renounced, doesn't even have a house to stay, doesn't have nice clothes, but still Bhavani knows the power of her husband. So Bhavani is serving him very nicely. Lord Shiva is so renounced that it is said that after his marriage happened, Lord Bhavani told at least we should have a house to stay. So then Lord Shiva arranged for a house. Then they did a housewarming ceremony, called all the sages, and they were giving charity. And ultimately, in the end, nothing was remaining, and one sadhu was still left. So Lord Shiva gave his own house. Again, they were under the tree. So that is how renounced Lord Shiva is. But Bhavani knew that my husband is a very, very powerful, supreme personality. So Prabhupada writes, for example, a specific example of Bhavani is significant. And then Prabhupada writes about how Bhavani is a princess. She is the daughter of Himalayas. And Lord Shiva is like a beggar. In spite of her being princess, she undertook all tribulations to associate with Lord Shiva, who did not have even a house. Although Bhavani was a daughter of a great king, she used to serve Lord Shiva like a poor woman. Similarly, Devahuti, who was the daughter of Emperor Swayambhu Manu, preferred to accept Kardamuni as her husband. Therefore, she is called as Sadhavi. Her rare example is the ideal of Vedic civilization. Every woman is expected to be good and chaste, as Devahuti or Bhavani. So just by serving Bhavani, just by serving Kardamuni, Devahuti also became equally advanced. It will be described later in this chapter. Devahuti, she became very thin, emaciated because she was not taking care of her body. And after a long, long time, when Kardamuni opened his eyes, he saw, oh, she is serving so nicely. He felt so compassionate. He said, although you are not aware of the opulence which I have, but I will reward everything to you. That's because you have served nicely. So that is the result of serving a great devotee husband. So by serving husband, both advance equally, just like the last bogie of the train also goes with the same speed as the engine. So that is the beauty of having a wonderful household life when both husband and wife are devotees of the Lord. Prabhupada writes, wife is dependent on the husband, and if the husband is a Vaishnava, then she naturally shares the devotional service of the husband because she renders him service. This reciprocation of service and love between husband and wife is the ideal of a householder's life. So that is the glory. Now, furthermore, qualities of devotee are described. That's how a disciple should serve his guru. विश्रम्भेणात्मशौचेन
विश्रम्भेणात्मशौचेन
गौरवेण दमेन च
गौरवेण दमेन च
शुश्रूषया सौहृदेन
शुश्रूषया सौहृदेन
वाचा मधुरया च भो
वाचा मधुरया च भो. So Vidura, devotee serve her husband with intimacy and great respect. to control of the senses with love and the sweet words.
Vishrambhena Atma Shauchena. She served her husband with intimacy and with purity of the mind. Gauravena, with great respect. Damena cha, control of the senses. Shushrushaya, she served with love. And Vacha Madhuraya, with sweet words. So the best quality servant, best disciple is a one who understands the mood of the Guru and serves him. Uttama chintita kuryat proktakari cha madhyama adhamo ashraddhaya kuryat adhamo ashraddhaya kuryat na uchcharitam patu akarta na uchcharitam pitu. Uttama chintita, the best servant is understands the mood. प्रोक्ताकारी बोलने से कर दे वो सेकंड क्लास, चलो कर तो दिया है. थर्ड हैज नो फेथ, पता नहीं क्यों ऐसा बोलते रहते हैं, कुछ होने वाला तो है नहीं, ठीक है फिर भी कर देते हैं, क्या करेंगे, गुरु है. One time Radha Govind Maharaj, he was having one disciple complaining and he was not doing some service properly. So he was telling, अरे तो गुरु है तो कुछ भी बोलेंगे, गुरु है तो सर पे बैठेंगे क्या? राधा गोविंद महाराज, गुरु नहीं बैठेगा तो कौन बैठेगा? So adhamo ashraddhaya kuryat. Third class disciple means no faith, but still ठीक है, गुरु है तो करना पड़ेगा. अकर्ता उच्चरितम, fourth class does not do it.
बोलने से भी नहीं
करता है.
Where is this first one?
This is Bhagavatam. This is 4 types of sons are described. I think 9th canto में आता है. Uttama chintita kurya prokta karicha madhyama. हाँ? नहीं ये वर्ष है. हाँ. You can search also. आप देखिए उत्तमश चिंतिता डालेंगे तो आ जाएगा. उत्तमश चिंतितम.
मेरा एक क्वेश्चन था. Now suppose some girl reads this of present day. Is she able to marry a beggar?
ये प्रभुपाद पार्वती ऐसा भिखारी से कोई शादी करेगी आज की लड़की? In 4th canto, Sati, she tells Daksha, people like you will never understand the opulence of beggars like us, beggars like Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is not a beggar. He moves around like beggar. So ordinary girl, so Devahuti knew who is Kardamuni. He is not an ordinary person. Sati knew who is Lord Shiva. Externals, so that's the problem. People of this world, current times, they see the externals.
Exactly.
They don't see the qualities. They don't see the opulence which is hidden. So previously it was not the case. लास्ट टाइम बोला था ना, क्या वो 4 शादी में अलग अलग लोग क्या क्या देखते हैं, कैसे शुरुआत हो. कन्यावरयते रूपम माता वित्तम पिता श्रुतम बांधव कुलमिच्छन्ति मिष्टान्नम इतरे जना. कन्या क्या देखती है? रूप कितना सुंदर है, माता कितना पैसा है भाई इसके पास, पिताजी क्या देखते हैं कितना पढ़ा हुआ है, और जो शादी में आते हैं वो लोग खाने के लिए क्या मिलेगा, क्या है मेनू में, क्या है. So currently people, they only see the externals. That's the problem. That's why the love at first sight, divorce at first sight. Because externals, they don't last long. No, externals, they can't sustain relationship in the long run. कितनी सुंदरता को देख के शादी करेंगे, क्या फर्क पड़ेगा? Most beautiful of the girl and the most rich husband, but still they have divorce because the qualities are not there. So Devavati knew who is her husband. So Vishrambhena and Atma Shauchena. So it is very important that 2 qualities, intimacy but Gaurava. This is very important. If somebody is very intimate, then he tends to be disrespectful. Because the more we come close to a person, we know his faults. We know this person has this good quality and this bad quality. That's why Jayadvaita Maharaj, Tamal Krishna Maharaj was telling that you become servant of Prabhupada. He said, no, I can't do this service. Or kuch bhi seva lagao. I am an editor by nature. I'll find faults in Prabhupada. और कुछ भी सेवा दो, ये सेवा मत दो, you know. So that's why many servants have, they made offenses against Prabhupada and that's why they left. So it is very, very important to maintain this combination. Intimacy, but still not disrespectful.
Ati Parichayata.
Ati Parichayata Vakya. So a combination of intimacy and respect is recommended here. So how to balance these two things, intimacy and respect? Any thoughts?
Actually, it depends on also on the person who you are serving. Because if he is really a great personality, his posture and poise is so heavy that even though you have intimacy, you will also think that array is so deep. So respect is automatically will come. Karna Muni was like that. Because of that, Devoti could, though she was intimately serving him, but she could understand the gravity of Karna Muni. That is one important thing. And second thing, one has to become full of humility. Should know that what I am doing, what is my role. I'm a servant of great personality. So even though I'm very close to him, watching that person day in, day out, I should respect that person. It's on both sides.
But,
So we need, what I was thinking when I asked, we need close friends who would try to protect when this such thing is likely to happen. So closeness definitely can lead intimacy can lead that. But somebody can correct us. So sometimes not is always in a position, but a friend can immediately point out and see. You just can see.
yes, yes. Yeah, because you will find faults in anyone, any great personality. Even people found faults in Prabhupada, disciples of Prabhupada. That Purushottam Prabhu who left because Prabhupada made a comment that, oh, we never went to moon. After this moon landing episode, one of the servants of Prabhupada, Purushottam Prabhu, he became very offended. How can Prabhupada say that? US has achieved such a big thing and he's saying we never went on moon. So ultimately he left. And then later he was asked that what happened? So he said, actually, I started offending and having faults and seeing faults in Prabhupada because when I saw that Prabhupada is dealing with Saraswati very casually and talking to her, a small child Saraswati, daughter of Malati Mataji and Shamsundar Prabhu. So then I thought, oh, sannyasi should not do like this. So that was the beginning of the fall down. So that's how one has to be really careful. And of course, if we have good friends, as Prabhuji said, and if we are humble, and if we consider the words of Guru and life as life and soul, that okay, this is my service to this personality, and it is not my duty to find faults. So we have to be always introspective, always thinking why I have come here for. That will save us from judging people, judging great personalities. Because even if great personalities have faults, teji asam na doshaye, one should not find faults because we can get along with that. They can do some mistake and they'll be out of it in some time. But by offending, we will fall down. So that's why we have to be really careful.
You have a qualification, but it doesn't have a material qualification. People don't do that. Sometimes you see and want to observe. If the material qualification is there, and then you have to devotee, then that.
Yeah, so that's how that is neophyte conception. When people see the externals, when people see material qualifications. Just like Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, he was illiterate, and Saraswati Thakur was the best of the scholars. So somebody asked, how come you have chosen a guru who is illiterate? So Saraswati Thakur said, in a boat, you see a motor is at one corner sitting, not moving anywhere, it seems. But because of that motor, the boat is moving everywhere. So I may be moving around preaching all over the India and doing so many things, but my power is coming from my guru. So that is how a disciple should always be. Nothing belongs to me, everything is coming from my guru. So a disciple should always think, Radhana Swami Maharaj was telling in one of his classes that a disciple in front of his guru should always think, I am fool number one. But many times, Maharaj said, many times we feel that I am fool number one, but not, I am fool, but not fool number one. ये बगल वाला ज़्यादा मेरे से बोलता है. So that's how you have to be humble. Prabhupada writes.
But what we said the last time, it actually comes to our mind, Prabhuji. We feel we are not that great, but I must say equally. It's not like one.
इतना भी नहीं हूँ मैं.
I'm somewhat good.
बगल वाला मेरे से ज़्यादा है वो. That's how be humble than a blade of grass. बहुत मुश्किल है ना, वो बोल तो देते हैं.
They're laughing, but actually they read our mind and their feelings.
Shastra was always like very sharp.
So, work in progress, inconvenience, regret. So, Prabhupada writes, here 2 words are very significant. Devavati served her husband in 2 ways, Vishrambhena and Gauravena. These 2 important processes, these are the 2 important processes in serving the husband. Vishrambhena means intimacy, Gauravena means great reverence. Husband is a very intimate friend and wife must serve just like an intimate friend. She must understand that husband is superior in position, must offer him all respect. Man's psychology and woman's psychology are different, as constituted by bodily frame. A man always wants to be superior, and a woman is naturally inferior, as bodily constituted. Thus, the natural instinct of the husband is that husband wants to post himself as superior. So these statements can be easily, misinterpreted, taken out of context, and today's world will say, just see what Prabhupada is writing here. Swamiji is male chauvinist. क्या चल रहा है यहाँ पे?
The chauvinist.
So basically, husband, if the husband is like Kardamuni, or if the husband is not like Kardamuni also, if husband is a good devotee. So the principle of Vedic culture is just by serving a good husband, the wife also advances equally. It is not about putting them in inferior position. It is a advantage given. बिना कुछ किए ही advancement हो रहा है. So anyways, so that's how devotee should understand these statements. Even if there is some wrong on the part of husband, wife must tolerate it. These statements are also, very, very dangerous statements. We have to use them in right context. Otherwise, even in ISKCON, in the past, husbands have abused their wives, telling that just see, यहाँ पे लिख रहा है Prabhupada. You are always inferior. But the principle, there is a principle of niyamagraha. वो क्या होता है?
Following rules are going to see person.
Just for the sake of following, or niyam agraha and niyamagraha. Niyam
Rigidity should not be there. At the same time, it should not be very.
नहीं नियम आग्रह मतलब
Whimsical. Agra means whimsical.
following without knowing, without understanding,
Okay.
and agraha means rejecting because I can't understand what is the meaning of this.
Okay.
So the basic principle of all these rules and regulations is women should always be protected. But in the name of, oh, you are subordinate and I can exploit, then the purpose is lost. Purpose is defeated. So that is the main purpose. Vishrambhena means with intimacy, and it must not be familiarity that breeds contempt. Hati parichayat avagya. According to Vedic civilization, wife cannot call her husband by name. In the present civilization, wife calls her husband by name. मेरी मम्मी भी कभी बोली नहीं मेरे पापा को नाम से बुलाई नहीं कभी. My mother, ऐसा बहुत ट्रेडिशनल कल्चर था ना.
They used to tell the child's name,
हाँ.
his father.
नहीं
That's
तो
all.
बोलती आजी सुनिए ना ऐसे बोलती है.
ओहो,
ओहो
मराठी में ओहो बोलते हैं।
ओहो हाँ. Does
Previously, there was a lot of difference in the age actually.
हाँ 10 साल मेरे मदर फादर में 10 साल का एक डिफरेंस है.
अभी ना there is no difference only.
अभी तो एल्डर अभी तो बड़ी
में है नजदीक में almost
अभी
like.
मेरे को किसी ने बताया एक टॉपिक चल रहा था.
Girls more age and the boys less age.
अभी मेरे को एक टॉपिक कुछ चल रहा था तो somebody told me अरे आजकल के बॉलीवुड स्टार्स ऐसे हैं. प्रियंका चोपड़ा ने अपने उससे 10 साल छोटे लड़के से शादी किया है. So that's how the icons of the society are today. तो पब्लिक क्या करेगा वही करेगा.
4 साल से छोटे 4-5 साल।
हाँ तो वैसा ही है. So that's how that's how the culture is not there now. Damenacha, a wife has to control herself even if there is misunderstanding. Sauridena vacha madhuraya means always desiring good for the husband and speaking to him with sweet words. So basically all these things are applicable for our disciple when dealing with his guru. That is what our devotee should see in these purports. All these purports are for our disciple. Always serve the guru, even if guru chastises, even if guru makes a wrong decision, does some apparent wrong thing, makes wrong decision, but still tolerate. Of course, some things can be told, but most of the times, the principle of tolerance should always be there. That's how the disciple advances. And then Prabhupada writes, a person becomes agitated by so many material contacts in the outside world. Therefore, in his home life, he must be treated by his wife with sweet words. बाहर से परेशान होके आके घर में पत्नी भी बोलेगी क्या ये करना है वो करना है तो पति बाहर तो इतना प्रॉब्लम झेल के आया हूँ घर में थोड़ा
Problem now is both the people are working, both are getting.
बहुत getting upset.
I can't.
अभी क्या बोलेंगे कौन किसको पैसिफाई करेगा अभी practical situation is different completely.
The Varnashram system is lost now.
Yeah, it is. That's why it is very difficult to establish the old Varnashram, Vedic Varnashram. That's why Prabhupada said Devi Varnashram is the only thing we can establish now.
Devi Varnashram means?
Devi Varnashram means the principle of devotion. Everybody is supposed to serve God, serve Krishna, wherever you may be. The principle of serving Krishna is important.
Okay.
That is Devi Varnashram.
Actually, nowadays jobs are like that. No? Husband is going in the morning and the lady is doing night shift in the home, work from home.
There is no fighting.
No one is fighting.
बात ही नहीं करते।
Busy है तो काम झगड़ा करने का टाइम नहीं
Time
मिलते ही नहीं. प्रभात बोलते हैं ना संडे डैडी. बच्चा पापा को संडे को ही देखता है. मम्मी पूछता मम्मी ये कौन है बोले तेरे पापा है.
अरे तो वो भी अभी क्या बच्चे भी नहीं चाहिए ऐसा हो गया. होता है income, getting income, they don't want child. ऐसा अभी situation.
Degradation.
No child is required.
Child also, they going to the school, pre-nursery, I do this sanskar. Someone was saying, 3.5 years, start studying.
If you go to IT,
2 साल से नहीं बच्चे को भेज देते हैं नर्सरी स्कूल के लिए.
IT कंपनी में जाएंगे तो every facility is there. घर पे जाने की भी जरूरत नहीं है. Infosys पे जाओगे ना पुणे में, everything is there, everything. सोने से, खेलने से, खाने से सब कुछ. घर पे जाने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. काम करो, कभी भी काम करो, कभी भी सो जाओ, कभी भी करो. आपका खाली वो टाइम शेड्यूल में काम होना चाहिए.
Yeah, that's how people have lost the purpose of life. मतलब ठीक है अभी कमाना है खाना है सोना है
No discipline.
and enjoy all sex life is available freely. So अभी और क्या बच गया है? That is the purpose of life. Enjoy. No responsibility towards the society, towards family. So yeah. So that is the problem. So that's why we have to understand and protect the Cultures, coming civilization, coming generations.
At the age of 40, they are planning retirement. They earn so much, then they continue some other lives. That's what it is. Huh?
नहीं कुछ retirement नहीं होता है.
Most of these people you will see, they plan to retire at 45,
हाँ.
and go to middle cities, the rest of the cities. People plan to go to Bhubaneswar or other places to go and Bangalore and places. Most of the
You are the tomorrow challenge. You are accused of
no need to work till 50 years age, and that time life is almost lost. So that's it.
Hare Krishna. There is no end to this. Visrajya kamam dambham cha Vesham lobham magham madam Yam
अप्रमत्तोद्यतानित्यम्
Tijiyamsam atoshaya.
समतोषयो
Please say the end, there is anything. Please, that is very powerful, has been leading of all last guide, will be green, simple activities and daily.
So furthermore qualities of a disciple are described. Visrajya kamam dambham cha. She gave up all lust, pride, dvesha, envy, lobha, greed, agham, sinful activities, and mada, vanity. Apramatta udyata nityam, working sanely and diligently. Tejiyam sammatoshaya. She pleased her very powerful husband. That is very important. A disciple should always have this faith. My guru is all powerful. He is very powerful personality. That is a faith a disciple should always have. Any examples in Bhagavatam where a disciple expressed this attitude that you are very powerful? We have discussed this 2-3 times. It comes so far. Narad Muni is telling Brahma ji, आप तो सब कुछ कर रहे हैं. You have kept everything in your hand like Amalaki fruit. You are creator, you are maintainer, you are destroyer. I think you are the supreme lord. और कहाँ कौन बोल रहा है? Vyas tells Narad Muni, Tam paryatan arkavad trilokim antar characharakshi, ऐसा कुछ तो बोलते हैं. You are like supreme lord, you are like sun, you are like air, you are like Paramatma. So you know everything. So one more place, I think Brahmaji also tells Supreme Lord, no, Supreme Lord कोई बोल रहे. Narad Muni also tells about Brahmaji. So basically, that is the mood of a disciple, that my spiritual master is very powerful. So therefore, in service to a guru, one should not have any ulterior motives. Visrijya kam, dambha, lobha, dvesha, agha, mada. That is very, very important. So why she gave up, why it is described like this? Because she's coming from a very, very prestigious family. She's not thinking, मैं तो इनसे next level वाली हूँ. तब अमीर लड़की और गरीब लड़का है. तो ऐसा नहीं सोच रही है कि oh, he is a poor person. I am coming from a royal family. She gave up all pride that I am coming from a royal family. She had no greed. She was not having any lusty desires, any ulterior desires. So Prabhupada writes, she could have been very proud of her parentage, but that is forbidden. The wife should not be proud of her parental position. She must always be submissive to the husband and must give up all vanity. As soon as the wife becomes proud of her parentage, her pride creates great misunderstanding and family life is ruined. Then Prabhupada writes, the most sinful activity for a wife is to accept another husband or another lover. As Chanakya Pandit says, there are 4 kinds of enemies at home. ऋणकर्ता पिता शत्रु माता च व्यभिचारिणी रूपवती भार्या शत्रु पुत्र शत्रु अपंडितः. Prabhupada translates all that. रूपवती भार्या शत्रु. एंड एक्चुअली यहाँ पे प्रभुपाद दूसरा कुछ लिख रहे हैं. वहां पे लिख रहे हैं इफ द अरण्यम तेन गंतव्यम यथारण्यम यथा गृहम, वो ट्रांसलेट कर रहे हैं, पहला तो लाइन याद नहीं आ रहा है. इफ द सन रिप्लाइज बैक, इफ द वाइफ हैज अ पैरामोर, if the wife speaks in bad words, so what is the use of family life? Better you should leave the family. In a family life, father, mother, wife, children are assets. But if the wife or mother accepts another husband, then she is an enemy. It is a greatly sinful act. So basically, a disciple should be loyal to Guru. Loyalty does not mean that we are disrespectful to other organizations and other gurus. And in the name of being respectful towards everyone, one should not forget the loyalty towards Guru and Srila Prabhupada. That is very important in current times. So all these are the qualities of a loyal disciple. Visrijya kam, dambha. One should be chaste to parampara. Agha means chaste to parampara. It is now becoming very common for ISKCON devotees to hear many of the other sampradaya gurus, Babajis of Vrindavan, and people they say, wow, कितना अच्छा बोलते हैं, हमको बहुत इंस्पिरेशन मिल रहा है इनसे, बहुत होली नेम पे बोलते हैं. There is one guru who is very famous nowadays in Vrindavan. बहुत सारे ISKCON devotees सुनते हैं उनको. It's very, very important. Pause it. It begins from, the leaders, how the leaders are understanding the philosophy. Deviation begins from top. छोटा मोटा व्यक्ति कभी डेविएट होगा तो कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा सोसाइटी को, वो तो अभी आ ही रहा है, उसको क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है, क्या मालूम है उसको. When top people, they are not understanding the philosophy, and in the name of managing the organization nicely, if they're not getting deeply rooted in the understanding of philosophy and loyalty to Guru Parampara, then the deviation starts. और ऊपर वाले का दिमाग खराब होता है तो पूरा एक ग्रुप लेके जाता है वो. That's how it is. It is very common, phenomena. ऊपर से लोगों का दिमाग खराब होता है. And leaders, they are not deeply rooted. So it is our responsibility as the leaders that understand that what Prabhupada has given us. Loyalty to Parampara is the most important thing. और कहीं नहीं जाना है, किसी को नहीं सुनना है, ऊपर वाले ही सुनना शुरू करते हैं. फिर बाकी पब्लिक देखती है, देखो तो हमारे प्रभु जी सुन रहे हैं, हमारे काउंसलर सुन रहे हैं, हमारे टेम्पल के प्रेसिडेंट सुन रहे हैं, और ये भी सुन रहे हैं, तो हमें सुनने में क्या फर्क है. So we have to be really careful about this loyalty. Loyalty to Guru Parampara is सुनने में ही प्रॉब्लम है. सुनना ही क्यों है?
Not to hear.
What is the need to hear?
The problem of after this COVID, everyone started hearing and without our qualification, we try to hear something.
Even if they are speaking right, क्या जरूरत है सुनने का? नहीं, हम तो अमेध्यात कांचनम ग्राह्यम, अपने पास सोने की कमी है कि वो कचरे में से सोना निकाल रहे हैं. आप अपने पास यहाँ पे गोल्ड माइन है और आप उधर कचरे में से सोना ढूंढ रहे हैं. हमको मिलेगा भी नहीं और हमारा पूरा गंदा हो जाएगा शरीर. That's a problem. So as a safest path is प्रभुपाद को छोड़कर कहीं क्यों जाना है हमको. इतने प्रभुपाद जी के शिष्य हैं, they have given such wonderful philosophy, so many books are written. वो सब पढ़िए ना, कमी है हमारे पास. जैसे प्रभु जी बोल रहे हैं, भागवत सीधी नहीं खत्म हो रहा अपने. उसका चैतन्य भागवत है, फिर सारार्थ दर्शनी वर्षनी विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर ने इतना सारा लिखा है, क्या जरूरत है बाहर जाने का? हाँ,
एक्चुअली ये भक्ति वैभव ऐसे ज्यादा कोर्सेज लोगों ने लेना चाहिए। कोई
See, नहीं प्रभु जी, क्या these courses, it is very difficult for ordinary people to take to it. नहीं समझते वो लोग, समझेंगे नहीं, उनके लिए है भी नहीं।
भक्ति शास्त्री को लेना
भक्ति शास्त्री तक समझ जाते हैं, पढ़ लेंगे।
भक्ति शास्त्री लेना चाहिए।
So this is basically for the leaders to understand that कहीं नहीं जाना है। लीडर्स को लगता है ठीक है ना, थोड़ा सा सुनने में क्या प्रॉब्लम है? प्रॉब्लम है, ऐसा हट होना चाहिए, नहीं सुनना है मेरे को, कुछ सुनना ही नहीं है, मैं क्यों सुनूं? मैं प्रभुपाद को छोड़ के दूसरा कुछ, इतने सारे गुरु हैं इस्कॉन में, उनका छोड़ के मैं दूसरे का क्यों सुनूं? कितना भी अच्छा बोले, एंड प्रॉब्लम इज ये तो बोल भी रहे हैं, उसमें मायावाद बोल रहे हैं, you know? सब देवी देवता एक है, किसी की पूजा करो, ऐसा मतलब वीडियो है उनके ऑफिशियल साइट पे, you know? So when people, they don't understand where is the foundation, they are seeing just the building. कितना अच्छा बोलते हैं, होली नेम पे बोलते हैं, अरे होली नेम पे बोल के कहाँ जा रहे हैं? अल्टीमेटली कहाँ पहुंचेंगे होली नेम पे ध्यान करके? उनका क्या विचार है? व्हाट इज देयर थॉट प्रोसेस? दे वांट टू मर्ज इन दैट, एंड इवन इफ somebody is good, just like all the other संप्रदायस, श्री वैष्णव है और फिर मध्व है, बोले नहीं उनका भी सुन लेते हैं, क्यों सुनना है? Because the goal is different, so we have to stick to our goal, loyal to our परंपरा। हमने शादी कर लिया ना, अभी इन्होंने शादी कर लिया ना, तो शादी कर लिया तो दूसरे पति का कैसे सुनेंगे वो? दूसरे के पास कैसे जाएंगे? So that is what we have to learn from देवाहुति। पति को छोड़ के कहाँ दूसरे के पास सुनेंगी? That is a disciple, that is how we have to be loyal to our parampara। Okay, so we'll continue.
Recording on.
Yes, sir. सवै देवर्षि वर्यस्ताम् मानवीं समनुव्रताम् दैवाद्गर्यसः पत्यो आशासानां महाशिषः कालेन भूयशा क्षामाम् कर्षितां व्रतचर्यया प्रेम गदगदया वाचा पीडिता कृपया ब्रवीत्।
The daughter of Manu, who was fully devoted to her husband, looked upon him as greater even than Providence. Thus, she expected great blessings from him. Having served him for a long time, she grew weak and emaciated due to her religious observances. Seeing her condition, Kardama, the foremost of celestial sages, was overcome with compassion and spoke to her in a voice choked with great love.
Online, somebody had raised. Uddhav Bhakti Mataji, you had raised your hand. Any questions you had, or it was by mistake?
हरे कृष्णा, दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु। तभी हम बात करना चाहते थे, लेकिन टॉपिक कंटिन्यू हो गया ना, इसलिए हम रुक गए। आज भक्ति सिद्धांत मतलब श्रील बलदेव विद्याभूषण जी का भी डिसअपियरेंस डे है ना, तो उन्होंने उनको साक्षात भगवान मतलब गोविंद देव के स्क्रिप्चर ये करे थे, गाइड करते, उन्होंने स्क्रिप्चर लिखा था, उन्होंने रामानंद जी को डिफीट किया था। तो ऐसा है कि जब हम आचार्यों से फिक्स रहेंगे, हमारे आचार्यों कितने भगवान के क्लोज है, वो रहेंगे तो वो टोटल नहीं, दूसरी तरफ जाएंगे ही नहीं। उनको पहले ट्रस्ट और फेथ आना चाहिए। डिवोटीज कोई नया भी हो, कोई भी हो, वो डायरेक्टली आचार्यों से कनेक्ट होना चाहिए, ऐसा लगता है। तो जब भी वो फिक्स हो जाएगा प्रभुपाद जी से और आचार्यों से, तो कहीं और जाएगा ही नहीं। जब भी उसे वो सब रियलाइजेशन दिखेंगे कि किस तरह से रघुनाथ दास गोस्वामी मतलब राधा कुंड में कैसे सेवा किए थे, या तो आचार्यों ने हमारे क्या किया है। उनकी एक साइडवेज, जैसे आप भक्ति शास्त्री भक्ति वैभव लेते हैं ना, वैसे आचार्यों की भी कोई ऐसे ये होनी चाहिए। ऐसे हमें कभी कभी लगता है कि क्या बोलते हैं, सेमिनार्स होने चाहिए कि सारे आचार्यों की पूरी हिस्ट्री बताना, ऐसे तभी कहीं जाएंगे ही नहीं। ऐसा एक मन में आया था, बाकी कुछ नहीं। हरे कृष्णा, दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु।
हरे कृष्णा। थैंक यू। ये भक्ति वैभव की बात सोचेंगे। So thank you much. So she grew very weak. Savai Devarshivariya. She was serving Devarshivariya, the best of the celestial sages, Kardamuni. Manavi means daughter of Swayambhu Manu. Samanu Vratam, she was fully devoted. Daivad Gariyasaha Patyu. She, by some great fortune, she looked upon him as greater even than providence. That is the disciple. साक्षाधारित्वेन समस्त शास्त्रे, गुरु से बढ़कर और कोई नहीं है. Guru is the way. Guru shows the way. So by serving, Kaviraj Goswami says, Guru Krishna Rupahana Shastrera Pramane, Guru Rupe Krishna Kripa Korena Bhakta Gane. Guru is Krishna Rupa, Shastra says, and Krishna in the form of Guru shows mercy to the disciples. So that is the faith a disciple should have. My Guru is greater even than providence. Guru can change my destiny. Guru भाग्य बदल सकते हैं. कहाँ जा रहे थे, कहाँ आ गए हैं. एवं जन्म निपतितं प्रभवाहि कूपे कामाभिकाममनुया प्रपतन प्रसंगात् कृत्वात्मसात् सुरर्षिना भगवन् गृहीता सोहम कथम नु विसृजे तव भृत्य सेवा. Prahlad Maharaj is telling, oh my Lord, I was falling in this deep dark well of material existence. Prabhavahi kupe kama bhikama manuya, because of my lusty desires. Kritvatmasad, my spiritual master, Devarshi Narad Muni, he accepted me and he lifted me out of this deep dark well. How can I leave his service? Soham kathamnu visraje tava bhritya seva. So that is a disciple. You should always know my Guru is even greater than providence, no doubt about it. And thus, Asha Sana Maha Ashishaha. She expected great blessings from him. That is our disciple should always have this. Always thinking, my Guru will give blessings, and by his blessings only I'll cross this ocean. Otherwise, what is the power of this insignificant person? Kalena, and then having served him for a long time, एक दो दिन से नहीं होता है. मैंने इतना सेवा किया गुरु का मालूम है, पूरा 6 दिन से सेवा कर रहा हूं मैं. ऐसा नहीं होता है. Long time she was serving. तो क्या हो गया? Shamam, she became weak. Karshitam, emaciated. Vratacharya, by observing religious practices. Vratacharya is very important. Following the rules of regulations of bhakti for a long time. That is the role of a disciple. Prema gadgadaya vacha. So Kardam Muni, when he saw such a dedicated service of Devahuti, बोलने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती कि कृपा दीजिए, प्लीज शो मर्जी, ओ गुरुदेव, ओ प्रभु जी थोड़ा प्रार्थना करिए. ठीक है, when we tell devotees, they naturally pray for us. But when we do our services nicely, when we serve devotees, naturally blessings come from the heart. They are more powerful. When the blessings come from the heart, which is very overcome with the service attitude of the disciple, that blessing is very powerful. So Kardamuni sees the long service of Devahuti. Prema gadgadaya vacha. He became overwhelmed with compassion and he spoke in a voice choked with great love. Kripaya pidita kripaya abravit. Prabhupada writes, somebody can read the purport.
The wife is expected to be of the same category as the husband. She must be prepared to follow the principles of the husband, and then there will be a happy life. If the husband is a devotee and the wife is materialistic, there cannot be any peace in the family. The wife must see the tendencies of the husband and must be prepared to follow them. From Mahabharata, we learn that when Gandhari understood that her would-be husband, Dhritarashtra, was blind, she immediately began to practice blindness herself. Thus, she covered her eyes and played the part of a blind woman. She decided that since her husband was blind, she must also act like a blind woman. Otherwise, she would be proud of her eyes and her husband would be seen as inferior. The word Samanu Vrata, Samanu Vrata indicates that it is the duty of a wife to adopt the spatial circumstances in which the husband is situated. Of course, if the husband is evaluated as Kartamuni, then a very good result accrues from the following. But even if the husband is not a great devotee like Kartamuni, there is a wife's duty to adapt herself according to his mentality. That makes married life very happy.
Yes, that's how. Even if the husband is not a great devotee, wife should adapt according to his mentality. And then the husband also takes care of all the needs of the wife. That is what is going to happen. But she adapted the mood. She served him so nicely. Kardam Muni was ready to give him whatever he received. And that's what he'll tell in the next verse. So that's how a disciple should all. Then she says, Prabhupada writes. Okay, so she considered Kardam Muni as greater than providence. Daivad Gariyasaha, greater than Brahma. Daivad Gariyasaha. Kardam, Chakravarti Thakur writes. Kardam was stronger than destiny. He could change destiny. There is another meaning. She had given up all desires. But after some time, by the impetus of the Lord, Daivat, she desired some objects of pleasure. So she also desired that I want a child. So when the disciple has this confidence that my guru can change my destiny, then disciple can submit to the guru. Faith ही नहीं है कि ये कहाँ लेके जाएंगे मालूम नहीं. How will I submit to my guru? So that's how submission comes when we understand, when we accept that guru is most powerful, all powerful. Prabhupada writes. Yeah. Okay. Princess Devotee became very skinny and therefore husband became compassionate. Yes, she is not thinking that मैं तो रानी हूँ, I'm daughter, I'm princess, why I should serve this.
It's one Devahuti and Kardama, and Satyava, all the devotees were like all the couples were like so.
Like this means?
So devoted. This is like now
It's a devoted. May not be, this is like epitome of the service, but mostly service attitude was always there. So the wife was always devoted to the husband. It was a rare occasion when the wife would not serve. So in this Treta Yuga, when Ram ji ka isme, when that Dhobi says, "Arey Ram ji can accept, you have come after some days, how can I accept you?" There may be some situation, some occasion somewhere, because senses are always there. Senses can get distracted anytime. In the case of Ahilya, it happened. So it is possible that the senses may get distracted, but overall, the wives, they were very devoted. That was the culture ingrained now. So it was not exception कि भाई ऐसा है तो exceptional है. No, it was regular case, and she is also practicing the same loyalty and devotion to her husband. If husband is not favorable, Prabhupada writes, somewhere Prabhupada writes that if husband is not favorable, then still इसमें लिख रहा है
Even if the husband is not a great devotee,
नहीं उसमें नहीं और कहीं पे लिखते हैं even if the husband is not favorable, not uh, having the right attitude, Prabhupada writes there is no question of divorce. In Vedic culture, there is no divorce at all. Husband can, wife can stay away from husband, but still there is no divorce. So एक purport में कहीं तो लिखते हैं Prabhupada. Anyways, okay. So Kardamuni, now he is replying. The big verse, we can read the translation only.
Vaibhav said, "O respectful daughter of Swayambhu, today I am very much pleased with you for your great devotion and your excellent love and service. Since the body is so dear to the embodied beings, I am astonished that you have neglected your own body to use it on my behalf."
So Kardamuni is really thankful and expressing his gratitude. I am very pleased with you for your great devotion and most excellent loving attitude, loving service. Shushrushaya paramaya paraya cha bhaktya. Shushrushaya means a very, very wonderful service. Paramaya, most excellent, and bhaktya, devotion, with devotion. Because nobody will neglect his body to serve others. Because the body is the topmost for everyone. Whatever is doing, whatever somebody is doing in this world, they're doing so that their body is happy. They can keep their body happy. But you have neglected your body. That shows your supreme love and devotion. That is actually love. Pragad preme re swabhav achar nij dukh vigna adiro no kare vichar. That is devotion. That is love. Where nobody considers about the personal dukh and vigna, personal discomfort. So there Prabhupada writes, in any relationships, material discomforts, impediments, scarcities, and obstacles or एक और कुछ तो लिखते हैं. It will always be there in any relationship. But if somebody continues to serve in spite of all these, then that shows there is love. So discomforts will be there, impediments will be there, scarcity will be there, unhappiness will be there. These four things Prabhupada writes. But still, if somebody continues to serve, that is love. And devotee is serving with that. Prabhupada writes. It is indicated here that one's body is very dear, yet Devahuti was so faithful to her husband that not only did she serve him with great devotion, service, and respect, but she did not even care for her own health. That is selfless service. Okay, he continues. Next verse, translation. And then after glorifying, Kardamuni may say, well, what do you want by this service? Kya chahiye aapko? So he asks that.
Kardamuni continued, I have achieved the blessings of the Lord in discharging my own religious life, austerity, meditation, and Krishna consciousness.
Sorry, actually he tells what you will gain by this service. आपने इतना सेवा किया उससे क्या मिलेगा? That's what he's telling in this verse. Yeah.
In austerity, meditation, Krishna. Although you have not yet experienced these achievements, which are free from fear and limitation, I shall offer them all to you because you are engaged in my service. Now just look at them and giving you the transcendental vision to see how nice they are.
I have achieved the blessings, but you have not achieved. Ye me swadharma nirasta tapas samadhi. I have achieved that by my tapasya, by my meditation, by vidya, by atma yoga, Bhagavad Prasad. I have achieved this Bhagavad Prasad. सब मिला है मुझे, आपको नहीं मिला अभी तक. You have not achieved. But mad anusevaya avaruddhan. By serving me, you will get everything. I will reward you everything आप नहीं देख पा रहे हैं, but I'll give you everything. And I'll give you transcendental vision also to see. Drishtim prapashya. Just like Lord Krishna gave Divyam dadami te chakshu pashyame yogamaishwaram. That's why Gardamuni is saying, that's how he's also saying, I'll award you this vision. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, there is nothing suitable to give you to repay the debt of your selfless service to me. That service is very rare. आपने जो किया है वो बहुत ही दुर्लभ है. See those things attained by concentration of advanced meditation and worship, samadhi vidya, which are rightly attained by you. I give you the divine vision by which you can directly see them now. Or another meaning is, by my mercy, see directly the sight without shyness. Let there be no obstacle to both enjoyment and liberation by those things given by the Lord through meditation on the Lord, mixed with swadharma and austerities. Thus, Kardam promises fearlessness and no lamentation. So he's saying, I'll give you everything. So Prabhupada also writes, she was not supposed to be so advanced in austerity, ecstasy, meditation, but she was sharing her husband's achievements, which she could not see or experience. Automatically, she achieved these graces of the Lord. So that is how a disciple should have faith. I don't know क्या है उधर, पता नहीं उनको दिख रहा है. But by serving Guru, I will also get everything. Guru can reward me all those ecstasies, all the effects of highest of the devotional services. Prabhupada writes, what are the graces of the Lord? What is Abhaya? What is the grace which we receive when we serve the Guru? 6 points Prabhupada writes in the purport here. The grace of the Lord is Abhaya. That is the first grace. A devotee becomes fearless. That is the first installment of grace. A devotee becomes fearless. In the material world, if somebody accumulates $1 million, he's always full of fear because he's always thinking, what if the money is lost? Second thing he says, the benediction of the Bhagavat Prasad, benediction of the Lord, is never lost. It is never lost. First, you become fearless. And the second, grace of the Lord is never lost. It is not like the wealth of this world, which is lost. And then he says, all distresses are destroyed. Third thing is, the grace of the Lord destroys all the material distress. Fourth, one is freed from hankering and lamentation. Fifth, one achieves love of Krishna. Sixth, this achievement is so greatly valuable that no material happiness can compare. Sandrananda Visheshatma. Then Prabhupada quotes this verse from Prabodhananda Saraswati. Anyone knows this? One line at least. Liberation is hell. Prabodhananda Saraswati का famous है line है. What's Kaivalyam? That's what he is writing here. Kaivalyam narakayate tridashpur akash pushpayate. It's all Akash Pushpa, below the wisp, Prabhupada writes. इसको में आगे बहुत सारा vocabulary हमारा बढ़ गया है. क्या क्या वर्ड सीख लिया हम लोग जो पहले कभी जानते भी नहीं थे. Phantasmagoria. क्या क्या वर्ड अच्छा अच्छा सीखे हम लोग. It's sufficient to bewilder people. Tridashpur Akash Pushpayate Durdant Indriyakar Sarpa Patali Prothat Dam strike they. The sense is they are like snakes with broken fangs. No effect. Vishwam Purna Sukhayate, for a devotee, pure devotee, the world is blissful. He doesn't experience any pain in this world because Thavara Jangam देखी ना देखी तारा मूर्ति सर्वत्र हो इष्ट निज दिष्ट देव स्फूर्ति जहाँ पे देखो कृष्ण दिख रहे हैं तो where is दुख त्रिदशपूर विश्वम पूर्ण सुखायते त्रिदशपूर आकाश पुष्पायते यत् कारुण्य कटाक्ष वैभवताम तम गौरमे वस्तु महा. It is all possible by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So then Prabhupada writes in the next paragraph about the power of serving.
6 times 16. 6 times 16.
But then fifth is love of Krishna. The grace of the Lord is love of Krishna. Sixth is it is incomparable. No material happiness can compare it. फिर Prabhupada the example देते हैं नारद मुनि का. How he also served the Bhaktivedantis, he became a great devotee. Okay, next verse, translation.
Kardamuni continued, what is the use of enjoyments other than the Lord's grace? All material achievements are subject to be annihilated simply by a movement of the eyebrows of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of God. By your principles of devotion to your husband, you have achieved and can enjoy transcendental gifts very rarely obtained by persons proud of aristocracy and material possessions.
In the previous paragraph of purport, Prabhupada writes a line, wonderful line. What is the secret of success? In the middle of the paragraph. For spiritual advance achievement, the easiest path is to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and to serve him with heart and soul. That is the secret of success. Yes, prasada, Bhagavad prasada. Okay. So now, in this verse it says, what is the use of any other achievement? All the other achievements, they are insignificant. They all get destroyed. But by serving you, by serving your husband nicely, you have achieved the transcendental gifts. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, the objects of Swarga enjoyed by Indra's wife are filled with fear and lamentation. Are they all not insignificant? अरे स्वर्ग में भी दुख है, स्वर्ग में भी एंजाइटी है, lamentation है. These have been attained by your loyalty to your husband. You have achieved everything. Nij dharma dohan, Prabhupada also writes that. Nij dharma dohan. By serving your husband, you have achieved a very, very invaluable gift. They are hard to obtain for those who disfigure themselves with identity as king or queen. So basically, he's telling you have achieved the highest. Prema Pumarto Mahan. You have achieved the best of the things in the world. So seeing the service of a disciple, the Guru gives more confidence, more faith that you have achieved the best. So that is how in Jaiva Dharma, there's a conversation between व्रजनाथ तो है ही, उसके पहले और एक आते हैं, एक उसमें सन्यासी हैं और एक और दूसरे बाबा जी रघुनाथ नहीं, वो स्टोरी आगे आती है. शुरू में एक दूसरे बाबा जी हैं, परमहंस बाबा जी. हाँ, परमहंस बाबा जी. सो परमहंस बाबा जी हैं और एक सन्यासी आते हैं उनके पास. वो पहले मायावादी होते हैं और फिर सुनते हैं कि वृंदावन में बहुत कुछ है. उनका क्या नाम भूल गया. So he comes to Vrindavan and he comes to Navadip, sorry. Then he heard that Navadip में जाइए, Navadip में और अच्छे ये हैं. So there he surrenders to Paramhams Das Babaji Maharaj, and then Paramhams Das Babaji Maharaj, and he asks very genuinely all the questions because he sees my Guru, this personality is absorbed in meditation and he is having ecstatic symptoms. तो उनको लगता है कि बस कुछ तो है. He was Mayavad, but because he had done some service to some devotees in Vrindavan, he developed that Sukriti. He came to Navadip and he met with this Paramhams Das Babaji Maharaj. And then Paramhams Das Babaji Maharaj reveals that actually he reveals his form to this sannyasi. Swarup Siddha bata dete hain. Directly नहीं बताते, indirectly. And then he tells, you have to qualify for it. There is unlimited pressure there, but you have to start working to get it. And the beginning is start chanting the holy names of the Lord. That's where he, begins with. So therefore, the Guru, he always tells the disciples that so many things are there to be known. I can give you everything. And he asks so many questions. The sannyasi asked so many questions about Jiva ka स्वरूप क्या है, and why does Jiva fall down, और वो सब उसमें आता है, बहुत अच्छे से आता है, बहुत फेमस है. उसमें बोलते हैं परमहंस दास बाबा जी, I have all the answers to your questions, but I am searching for a bona fide disciple who can understand the answers. मेरे को सब मालूम है, लेकिन आप नहीं समझ सकते. Yeah? So now you begin by practicing sadhana. So with that faith. So Guru knows everything, and disciples should have that faith that Guru has everything. But by following the instructions of the Guru, I will also achieve. He will award me everything. He will reward me with this love of God. हाँ? वैष्णव दास नहीं सन्यासी नहीं है ना. अच्छा वैष्णव दास बाद में. Okay, correct. So Prabhupada writes, Kardam Muni who offered her the best gift, which can be, बीच में ऐसा पढ़ ली. Although Devahuti was a princess coming from a royal family, fortunately she was under the supervision of her husband Kardam, who offered her the best gift, love of God. This grace of Lord was achieved by Devahuti by the goodwill and satisfaction of her husband. She served her husband with great sincerity, love, affection, and service. And Kardam Muni was satisfied. He willingly gave love of God, and he recommended that she accept it and enjoy it. That's the only thing which Guru wants, expects. Take it. I am giving you freely. Please accept it and enjoy it. Love of God is not an ordinary commodity. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu distributed this to everyone. Therefore, he is Mahavadanyaya. So Kardam Muni achieved after long tapasya, and he is giving to his wife very, very casually, easily, because she served him very nicely. So Mahaprabhu is also so very benevolent that he is distributing this love of God to everyone, anyone. हिन प्रेम श्री चैतन्य दिला जथा तथा जगाए मधाए पर्यंत अन्यर का कथा. हे गुप्त भाव सिंधु ब्रह्मा नापा एक बिंदु, हिन धन बिलाइला संसारे. ऐछे दयालु अवतार, ऐछे दाता नाहियार, गुण केह नारे वर्णि बारे. Nobody more merciful than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay. Next verse, translation.
From hearing the speaking of her husband, who excelled in knowledge of all kinds of tangible science, innocent devotee was very satisfied. Her smiling face shining with a slightly bashful glance, she spoken in a soft voice because of great humility and love.
So in 9, 10, 11 verses, devotee requests for a child. She was very satisfied. She became very shy. And in a voice full of happiness, choked with love, she is now speaking. Prabhupada writes in the last few lines. She had no doubt that the gifts offered by her husband, she had no doubt about the gifts offered by her husband. She knew that he was expert in offering such gifts. And when she understood that he was offering the greatest gift, she was very satisfied. She was overwhelmed with ecstatic love, and therefore she could not reply. Then, with faltering language, she spoke the following words. So that is the faith of a disciple. My guru can give me the best. एतां स आस्थाय परात्मनिष्ठा अध्यासितयं पूर्वतमय महर्षिभिः अहं तरिष्यामि दुरंतपारम. That is a sannyas mantra. Mahaprabhu, when he took sannyas, he chanted this. That is the mantra which all sannyasis they chant. Etam sa asthaya. That is a faith a disciple has. Paratmanishtha. I have faith in the previous acharyas. Purvatamai maharshibhi. By following the path given by them, aham tarishyami. I will also cross. So that is the faith a devotee has. One achieves everything by the practice of bhakti. Everything can be achieved by a devotee. Yat karma bir, yat tapasa, jnana vairagya, shayat yogen dan dharmena shreyo bir itairapi sarvam mad bhakti yogena mad bhakto labate anjasa. Lord is telling to Uddhav ji, it comes in the Canto. जो भी कर्म करके मिलता है, तपस्या से मिलता है, दान धर्म श्रेयोभिर और जो भी करिए, my devotee gets everything. That is a faith a disciple has. By serving my guru, I'll achieve everything in this world. Chakravarti Thakur writes, she found it impossible to speak with her mouth in the next two verses because of the contrary taste in praying for material enjoyment from her husband, and because she was the crest jewel among all women. So next two verses, she is not speaking, although यहाँ पे देवहूति उवाच लिखा है. Srimad Chakravarti Thakur writes that out of her shyness, she is not speaking, but these are the thoughts. Yeah. मन में ही बोल रही हैं और वो समझ भी जाते हैं. Therefore, to speak, she used a glance infused with an embarrassing smile as her mouth. Chakravarti Thakur writes. So she's just smiling, and with a glance, she's speaking these two verses. Her humility and love made her voice choke up. Thus, she clearly stated her intentions in the two verses, but without using her mouth. She remained silent. Translation, next verse.
Devotee said, my dear husband, the best of Brahmanas, I know that you are in perfection and are the master of all the incarnationistic powers, because you are under the protection of Yoga Maya, transcendental nature. But you once made a promise that our bodily union should not fulfill, since children are a great quality for a just woman for the glorious servant.
So she is now asking for a child. You had promised to my father that you will give me a child. So please give me a child. Prabhupada writes, she is expressing her happiness by the word bata. Radham bata dvija vrishaitada amogha yoga. Bata means, oh, you had given a benediction to my father. Now please give me a child. So Prabhupada writes about Stri means expansion, one who expands the family by giving children. For a woman, it is great ambition to have a son of the same quality as highly qualified as husband. So Kardamuni, after hearing this desire, which she is speaking in the mind, Kardamuni may say, okay, please enter the hut, we'll fulfill your desire. She says, no, 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 this cannot be accomplished by a thin, soiled body like this. Please do something. So she continues in the next verse, this desire. Translation.
Devaki continued, my dear Lord, I am struck by excited emotions for you. Therefore, kindly make what arrangements must be made according to the scripture so that my scheming body, enunciated through unsatisfied passion, may be rendered fit for you. Also, my Lord, please think of a suitable house for this purpose.
So Prabhupada writes, Vedic literature is not only about spiritual instructions, but also about material arrangements. So it is not that a devotee is only suffering materially. No, all the material arrangements are also done for a devotee. So that's what she's telling. Please arrange for a house. Please arrange so that my body becomes suitable so that we can have a child. So Prabhupada writes about that. Vedic literature are not only full of spiritual instructions, but also instructive in how to prosecute material existence very nicely. So Prabhupada writes how scriptures they tell art of living in this world and art of leaving the world. Prabhupada writes a very interesting piece of information here, according to Ayurveda. Sexual intercourse in which the husband is attracted to wife is sure to produce a male child. And when the wife is attracted to husband, produces a girl child. This is mentioned in Ayurveda. When the passion of women is greater, girl is born. When the passion of man is greater, son is born. Okay. Next verse now. After all this, Maitreya Muni, he continues the story. Maitreya uvacha priyaya priyamanvichan
प्रियाया
Damo
प्रिनमच्छन्
yogamanastitaha
कर्दमो योगमास्थिता
kamushattaha
विमानं कामवशं सत्त्वा
eva virachikarat.
तर्हि एव अविचरिकत.
Maitreya continued, O Vidura, seeking to please his beloved wife, the sage Kardama exercised his yogic power and instantly produced an aerial mansion that could travel at his will.
Yes. So it produces a wonderful aerial mansion. Next verse. Sarvakama dugham divyam
सर्वकाम
sarvaratna samanvitam
सर्वरत्ना समन्वितं
sarvadyupachayodarkam
सर्वद्युपचयोदर्कं
manistambhair paskritam.
मणिस्तम्भैरुपस्कृतम्.
It was a wonderful structure, bedecked with all sorts of jewels, adorned with pillars of precious stones, and capable of yielding whatever one desired. It was equipped with every form of furniture and wealth, which tended to increase in the course of time.
So 13 to 21st describes the beautiful airplane which was created by Kardamuni, and then after all this description, Maitreya Muni says even Kardamuni was astonished. क्या बना दिया मैंने? इतना अच्छा कैसे बन गया? So that's how Prabhupada writes, even the devotee is surprised what all he can accomplish. The power of the devotee is unimaginable. So when devotee wants to do something, he can do unimaginable things. That's how Kardamuni is also astonished. It will come. Okay, we'll keep on reading the translation. Yeah, 14, 15, 16.
The castle was fully equipped with all necessary paraphernalia and it was pleasing in all seasons. It was decorated all around with flags, festoons, and artistic work of variegated colors. It was further embellished with wreaths of charming flowers that reflected sweetly humming bees and with tapestries of linen, silk, and various other silks.
Next.
Fellows looked calmly with face, conscious hands and said, constantly arranged in a seven story.
Next. 7 story बनाया है. Next.
This beauty was enhanced by artistic engravings here and there on the walls. The floor was of amaranth with organ vases.
Next.
The palace was very beautiful, with its scarlet thresholds at the entrances and its doors bedecked with diamonds. Gold pinnacles crowned with domes of sapphire.
Next.
With the choicest rubies set in its diamond walls, it appeared as though possessed of eyes. It was furnished with wonderful canopies and greatly valuable gates of gold.
Next.
Here and there in the palace were multitudes of live swans and pigeons, as well as artificial swans and pigeons with lights like that the real swans rose above them again and again, keeping them live birds like themselves. Thus the palace vibrated with sounds of these birds.
Next.
The castle had treasure grounds, resting chamber, bedrooms, and inner and outer acts, one with an art comfort. All these were his astonishment, the sage himself.
Vismapanam ivatmana. He was also astonished. कितना अच्छा बना दिया मैंने. Prabhupada writes, Kardam Muni, being a saintly person, was living in a humble hermitage. इतना देख के वो भी शौक हो गया, क्या बन गया. When he saw the palace constructed by his yogic powers, which was full of resting rooms, rooms for sex enjoyment, and inner and outer yards, he himself was astonished. That is the way of a God-gifted person. A devotee like Kardam Muni exhibited such opulence by his yogic power at the request of his wife. But when the opulence was produced, he himself could not understand how such manifestation could be possible. When a yogi's power is exhibited, the yogi himself is sometimes astonished. So that is how a devotee, when he is empowered by the Lord, can do unimaginable things. So Srila Prabhupada is a prime example of this. Yeah. एक बहुत अच्छा एक मैंने पढ़ा था कुछ श्रील प्रभुपाद anecdotes, I just read it. Wonderful. इसके कैसा ही So one time, this is Atre Rishi Prabhu. He is just talking to Prabhupada. So Prabhupada is talking to him, and he gave. So he told that Atre Muni, Prabhupada gave a conch to one devotee, Kartikeya, and Kartikeya Prabhu is recalling, and he said he gave me a conch, and he said, I never expected to do all this. I thought maybe we would just have some chanting, we could have a few devotees, but I never thought all this. He referred to all the temples. Sab ho gaya. So then this devotee was telling, Prabhupada, do you remember you told the story of Mullah Nasruddin, where Mullah Nasruddin was sitting by the lake and putting some yogurt in the lake. And people were asking, what are you doing? He says, I am trying to see if the whole lake will catch to become yogurt. यार मालूम थोड़ा सा दही डाला तो पूरा जम गया तो हो सकता है ना ट्राई कर रहा हूं and all the people were saying how could that be possible. So he said yes, but it's not possible, but what if what if okay. And he said both Prabhupada and I was laughing, what if, and he said Prabhupada, yours was the same thing, what if, and it caught on. अमेरिका जाके आप कीर्तन किए सब हो गया. So that is the power of a pure devotee. So what if? So this yogi himself is astonished. इतना कैसे हो गया? Prabhupada never thought कि इतना बड़ा हो जाएगा. But it happened. That is the mercy of the Lord. Krishna Shakti Vina Nahi Tara Pravartan. Next verse, translation.
When he saw Devhuti looking at the gigantic opulent palace with a displeased heart, Kardam Muni could understand her feelings because he could study the heart of anyone. Thus, he personally addressed to his wife as follows.
Next.
My dear Devhuti, you look very much afraid. First bathe in Lake Bindu Sarovar, created by Lord Vishnu himself, which can grant all the desires of the human being, and then mount this airplane.
The lotus-eyed devotee accepted the order of her husband because of her dirty dress and the locks of matted hair on her head. It did not look very attractive.
Next.
Her body was coated with a thick layer of dirt, and her breasts were discolored. She dove, however, into the lake, which contained the sacred waters of the Saraswati.
The house inside the lake stood 1,000 girls, all in the prime of youth and fragrant like roses.
Okay, next.
Seeing her, the damsel suddenly rose and said with folded hands, "We are your maid servants. Tell us what we can do for you."
Next.
The girls being very respectable, they would be brought her forth, and after bathing her with their little voice and unguents, they gave her fine new spotless clothes to cover her body.
Next.
They then decorated her with very excellent and valuable jewels, which shone brightly. Next, they offered her food containing all good qualities and sweet, invigorating drink or awesome.
Next.
Then, then in Mirashi beheld her own reflection. Her body was completely free from all dirt, and she was adorned with a garland, dressed in unsullied clothes, and decorated with auspicious marks of Lata. She was so very respectfully by the maids.
Next.
Her entire body, including her head, was completely bathed, and she was decorated all over with ornaments. She wore a special necklace with a locket. There were bangles on her wrists and complete anklets of both wash and ankles.
Prabhupada writes, she took her complete bath. Krita Shirasnanam. So Prabhupada writes about the Shirasnana. So in Smriti Shastra, the ladies are allowed to bathe up daily up to neck. Hair is not generally wet because it may cause cold. So when they do complete bath, it's called the Shirasnana. Ordinary bath is called as Malasnana. So Shirasnana she took. Okay, continues. Next verse, translation.
About her age, she wore a girdle of gold set with numerous jewels, and she was further adorned with a precious pearl necklace and auspicious substances.
Next.
Her countenance was with beautiful teeth and charming arrows, her eyes distinguished by lovely most commerce. They depicted the beauty of the lotus birds. Her face was surrounded by dark golden flowers.
When she thought of her great husband, the best of sages, Karda Muni, who was very dear to her, she, along with all the maidservants, at once appeared where he was.
So everything was underwater. And as she remembered her husband, immediately she was there in front of her husband. So that was the power of Kardamuni. Yes, next verse, translation.
She was amazed to find herself surrounded by 1,000 maids in the presence of her husband and to witness his yogic power.
It says, could see that the Devotee was washed herself clean and shining forth as no longer his former wife. She had regained her own original beauty as a daughter of prince, dressed in excellent robes. Her charming dress, girl, she was waited upon by thousands of Gandharva girls, who destroyer of the enemy. His fondness for her grew, and he placed her on the everlasting.
Next.
Those seemingly attached to his beloved consort were served by the Gandharva girls. The sage did not lose his glory.
Yeah.
It was mastery over himself. In the aerial mansion Kadamuni with his consort, shown as charmingly as the moon in the midst of the stars in the sky, which causes rows of lilies to open in ponds at night.
Yes. So this is an important verse. The word used is Vidyadharibhir upachirna vapu vimane. His mastery over self was not lost. Tasmin alupta mahima. His mahima was not decreased. He did not lose his glory by enjoying. So that is a glory of a pure devotee, advanced devotee of the Lord. Although they are in the midst of all the sense gratification, they may be enjoying, they may be seen to be attached, but internally they are detached. So we should never judge a devotee seeing the externals. He is doing so much of sense gratification. That was the case of Gadadhar Pandit and Pundarik Vidyanidhi. Externally, very attached. इतना sense gratification कर रहा है. You know? And he was a brahmachari, Gadadhar Pandit. So therefore, alupta mahima, tasmin alupta mahima priyayanurakto. Although he was attached to her beloved, his beloved, he did not lose his glory. So a devotee is never affected. Bhayam pramattasya vaneshu api syat yatasya aste sa shat sapatnah jitendriyasya atmarati budhasya grihashramam kimnu karoti avadya. Even if somebody out of fear enters forest, leaving everything, he does not enter alone. He enters with 6 wives. What? A person does not enter alone in the forest. He enters with 6 wives who are all constantly pulling him in different directions. 6 senses, 5 senses and the mind. But Jitendriya, Atmarati, and Buddha, a person who is sense controlled, self-satisfied, and intelligent. Grihashramam kimnu karoti avatya. What harm can a household life do to this person? So that is how this devotee, this Kardamuni, he was not affected. Griheva vanete thako, ha gauranga bole dako. So that is how a devotee is, wherever he may be. Now Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself says, Je dine grihe bhajan dekhi grihete golok bhai. So grihete golok bhai. He is seeing golok in his home because everybody is focused on serving Krishna. Next verse, translation.
In the present Murcha, we travel to the pleasure valleys of Mount Meru, which were rendered all the more beautiful by cool, gentle, fragrant breeze that simulated passion. In these valleys, the treasure of the gods, Kuvero, surrounded by beautiful women and praised by the siddhas, generally enjoys pleasure. Padamuni also, surrounded by the beautiful damsels and Levi, went there and enjoyed for many, many years.
So Prabhupada writes, he traveled all over the universe, all the 8 directions. And then in the last few lines, Prabhupada writes, when one is surrounded by young, beautiful girls, sex stimulation naturally becomes prominent. Kardam Muni was sexually stimulated. He enjoyed with his wife for many, many years. But यहाँ पे आ रहा है, he was praised by Siddha. Why he was praised by Siddhas? His sexual indulgence was praised by many, many Siddhas who have attained perfection. Why? Because it was intended to produce good progeny. So that's why Kardam, Maitreya and Vidur are discussing the household life of Swayambhu Manu. Two renunciants discussing about the sex life of the kings. Why? बोलते हैं उसमें क्यों? क्योंकि विश्वक्सेन आश्रयो ही असौ, because he is a devotee of the Lord. So Kardam Muni is glorified because he is a devotee of the Lord. He is internally detached. It is not about externals. Internal detachment matters. Otherwise, somebody may be living in the ashrama of a guru. Saraswati Thakur would say, just like there is a Griha Medhi, there is something called as Matha Medhi. He just stays in the ashram of the guru and he converts all the resources of a guru into stool and urine. Just eats and just does nothing. So Griha Medhi hota hai, Matha Medhi bhi ho sakta hai. It is about internal detachment. Next verse, translation.
Satisfied by his wife, he enjoyed in that aerial mansion, not only on Mount Meru, but in different gardens known as Vishrambaka, Surasana, Nandana, Pushpabhadraka, Chaitraprathya, and by the Manasa Sarovara lake.
Next.
He traveled in that way to the various planets as the air passes uncontrolled in every direction. Coursing through the air in that great and splendid aerial mansion which Krishna had built, he surpassed even the demigods.
So that was the power of Kardamuni. He could surpass all the devatas also. Yatha Anila, just like air is free to travel, He could travel anywhere. Next is a very important verse. Kim durapadanam tesham pumsam uddama chetasam yairashritas tirthapadas charano vyasanatyayah.
What is difficult to achieve in vain, who have taken refuge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's lotus feet. His feet are the source of sacred rivers like the Ganges, which put an end to the dangers of the mundane life.
So devotee can achieve anything in this world. There should be no doubt about it. Kim durapadanam. अरे क्या नहीं मिल सकता है devotee को. Pumsam uddama chetasam. Uddam means who are determined. A person who is determined to serve Krishna, he can achieve anything, not just any determination. That determination should be rooted in serving the Lord. A devotee achieves anything by the mercy of the Lord. Pumsam uddam chetasam, because yair ashrita tirthpada, because he has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, who is tirthpad. Tirthpad means his feet are the source of tirtha. Charano vyasanatyayah. Those lotus feet, they put an end to all the dangers of material life. Srila Prabhupada glorifies Ganga in the purport. He tells Kardam Muni was not an ordinary mystic. He was great, not just a mystic, he was a great devotee of the Lord. Otherwise, there are many yogis who perform all the mystic yogic acts. But Kardam was a great devotee of the Lord. Yoginam api sarvesham. आगे समय युक्त तमो मतः. अरे हमारा श्लोका याद करने रहेंगे. नहीं, हम एक श्लोका याद करेंगे आज. You have some meetings? नहीं है ना? हाँ, तो उसके बाद टेस्ट देंगे ना. ठीक है, आप लोग टेस्ट लीजिए. So devotee's power is astonishing. It comes in the fifth canto. Stop here. It comes in the fifth canto beginning, when Shukdev Goswami is describing how Privart Maharaj with his chariot, he created all the oceans and the islands. Parikshit Maharaj is astonishing. क्या ऐसा कैसे बना सकते? What's the power? So वहां पे बोलते हैं नैवं विदः पुरुषकार रुक्रमस्य पुंसां षडंग्रि रजसा जित सद्गुणानां चित्रं विदूर विगता सकृदादतीत यन्नामधे मधुना सजहाति बंधम. नैवं विदः पुरुषकार. It is not at all astonishing for a devotee of the Lord. अरे भगवान का नाम से ये संसार को पार कर सकते हैं, तो ये क्या बड़ी चीज है. Devotee can achieve anything. Pumsam tad anghri rajasa, because devotee has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Jit shadgunanam, he has already crossed all the anarthas. Kya bada chitram, what is astonishing. So that's how a devotee can achieve anything. That is chitram. Okay, Pada. So Prabhupada writes, for a person like Kardam Muni, there was no question of being conditioned. He was already a liberated soul, better than the Devtas, who are all conditioned. Although he was enjoying with his wife and many other women, he was above material life. Therefore, the word Vyasanatyayah is used to indicate that he was beyond conditioned life. He was not at all affected. So devotee is controlled, sense controlled in any situation. Devotee can engage in all the activities of the world, he will not be affected. Hanumanji, as he is in the Lanka searching for Mother Sita, abhi Sita kahan dhoondenge? He is searching in all the chambers of ladies. At one point of time, he starts thinking, wait a minute, what I am doing? I am a brahmachari. I am looking at all the sleeping ladies. ये क्या चल रहा है? क्या कर रहा हूं मैं? And then he understood, no, I am serving the Lord, my motive is pure, so therefore I am not at fault, I am not doing anything wrong. So a devotee, when he is engaged in service, apparent material conditionings don't affect the devotee. So after showing all the earth, Kardam Muni returns back to his hermitage. So from 44 to 48, Kardam Muni and Devahuti unites. We'll be discussing the next class. 43rd verse we have stopped. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagvatam ki jai.
You came back to the
After